Assyrians are conquerors. 15 centuries of conquering. We've perfected it. Our signature move? Kidnap the rich and powerful, politicians, educated, influential people in any and all sectors. Divide them up, sprinkle them throughout the many countries we've already conquered. It paralyzes the exiles and devastates the unskilled, uneducated, and poor we left behind. Done. When you wipe out a country's identity, they won't be a further bother. It's called finishing the job.
Jonah convinced the people of Nineveh to repent, but he did not remain with them long enough to help them change their ways permanently. Jonah's own country was ultimately destroyed as a result of him failing to finish his job.
My name is Shalmaneser IV, king of Assyria. Over the centuries, our power and influence has constantly waxed and waned. Currently, my country's power is growing, and we are fast becoming the most dominant empire in the entire world. But a prophet showed up. My people and I repent. God doesn't destroy us. We celebrate. Then we search for Jonah. What's our next move? We don't know. We are completely ready to turn from our evil ways. Permanently. We don't even know how to do that. More than a millennium spent ruthlessly conquering is a long time. We don't even know much about this powerful God. I send all of my soldiers out to find the prophet. I post a reward for anyone who can find him. No Jonah. He left, leaving us all on our own and to our own devices. He never wanted to come here in the first place. Went the other direction from what I understand. He had a change of heart from what I hear. And then by some great miracle came to us. And by some even greater miracle, we opened our stone-cold hearts. But Jonah vanished. That's our perspective. His, Israel detests Assyria. Jonah hates us. He shows up in our capital city with a blunt message and a side of indignation. In 40 days, Nineveh will be overthrown. We hold a citywide fast, repent. God changes his mind. No just desserts for the hated enemy of Israel. Jonah wasn't exactly thrilled, and in a 180-degree turn from our drunken orgies, violence to prisoners and other evil practices that I will not even mention here, we celebrate the power and forgiveness of God. Prophet Jonah was conflicted. Seemed wrong. In his mind, anyway. Our past identity just was wiped away. So, he left. The book of Jonah records the details. And the story doesn't end there. Jonah saved my country, but he indirectly doomed his own. He didn't finish the job. Without his influence, we slowly revert to our old ways, as if he never came, as if he never even existed. I can't tell you what could have been, but I can tell you some of what was. About half a century after me, my namesake, Shalmaneser V comes into power. He is a powerful king, conquers country after country, including the northern kingdom of Israel. The northern kingdom of Israel, Jonah's home. The northern kingdom disappears, becomes the 10 lost tribes of Israel. We settle foreigners into the northern kingdom, people from other conquered countries. They intermarry among themselves and with the remaining Jews left behind. These become the people who will harass the Jewish exiles when they return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. These will later become the Samaritans. Sometimes the results of someone not finishing the job are known immediately, And sometimes it takes a long time. And sometimes the ruinous effects are on families or communities. Sometimes the devastating results affect entire nations. Jonah helped doom Israel's northern and southern kingdoms, literally put his own country's identity at risk when he didn't finish the job. He's not the only one in the Bible who didn't finish the job. The early church writings of Paul, Peter, and John are full of rallying, urging people to finish well, to endure to the end. Early Christians were suffering poverty and persecution, and it was going to get worse for many of them. Rather than sugarcoat their message, the New Testament writers gave ample warning of the difficulties believers would face. But others offered an easier way: false teachers. Many early believers didn't finish well because it's easier to just quit when it gets difficult. You simply just walk away, like Jonah. Jesus himself watched people give up and walk away after hearing one of his messages. This is a hard teaching. Who can accept it? And from that time on, many of his disciples turned back, and they no longer followed him. Turned back, just walked away, and did not endure. Jesus compliments many of the churches in Revelation for enduring for his sake through all of their persecution and hard times to the end. You've got to be willing to endure to the end. In fact, the whole book of Revelation is an encouragement for Christians to endure to the end, to finish well, to get the job done. You affect many lives with the choices you make, whether you know it or not. Just ask Jonah. Will you endure and finish the job that God has given you? That would come highly recommended by Jonah. Will you repent and change your ways if you need to? Well, that comes highly recommended from me and the people of Nineveh. What happened to Assyria? Well, we eventually fell to the Babylonians, but they didn't finish the job and wipe us out. We made a minor comeback after Alexander the Great died, but declined again as the Persians defeated us. But they didn't finish the job. We still existed. Then in the 1st century, the Christian church started spreading. It spread to Assyria. Many Assyrians became Christians. This time, though, the job was done. Assyrian disciples were made, and today in modern-day Nineveh, which is encircled by the modern city of Mosul, Iraq, there are churches that have existed since the early centuries of Christianity. They've endured through all the adverse events in history and all the religious pressure that the region could throw at them. Assyrians, conquerors in a whole new light. It's called finishing the job.